We are Anka. Stay tuned for updated real news.
Hello, Anka Daily News viewers. We're here with news from the hottest fronts of the war. The nearly 3-year-long conflict between Russia and Ukraine continues to leave deep scars not only on the battlefields, but also on the strategic infrastructures and economic structures of the countries. Despite the Russian army's efforts to advance on the ground, the resistance of Ukrainian forces has been much stronger than expected. However, in this war, not only military successes, but also the protection and the sustainability of economic resources are of critical importance. Those who utilize their resources effectively will benefit in the long run, while those who lose control will be crushed by the burden of war. Today, we bring you an extremely important development: the Ukrainian army's attack on a key Russian facility known as the Shahid Unmanned Aerial Vehicle Center. This operation was not limited to the destruction of one center, but rather it was a chain of explosions that knocked out many other military and logistical assets in the area. This attack is a new blow to Russia's war economy. Russia, struggling to protect its resources, is becoming more and more vulnerable on both the battlefield and the economic front. In the coming minutes, we'll examine the knock-on effect of this attack and Russia's difficulties in protecting its resources in detail. What does it mean for Russia to lose control over the economic and military balance? How are Ukraine's attacks hitting Russia's logistics lines? We'll look for answers to these questions together. If you're ready, let's get into the details. Before we get started, though, a quick reminder: the Anka Daily News team is real. None of my team members or me are artificial intelligence. There's no doubt that AI is very advanced, but it's still not as good as us. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our daily reports and explanations. I do read all the comments you leave on our videos. Please continue to share your ideas about our content in the comments section. Tell us in the comments what content you'd like to see on the Anka Daily News channel. So let's start if you're ready. Anka Daily News reports. The Ukrainian military has announced it has successfully targeted a key military base where unmanned aerial vehicles used by Russia in the invasion process were located, with large-scale explosions during an attack. This operation is expected to significantly limit Russia's ability to attack Ukrainian cities. The Ukrainian General Staff has said in a statement that the attack was carried out on the Yeisk base in the Krasnodar region in southern Russia. About 400 Iranian-made Shahid unmanned aerial vehicles were reportedly stored at this base. Videos shared on social media platforms showed impressive images of huge explosions lighting up the night sky, followed by soaring flames. According to initial reports, there were no casualties in the attack, but the fire that broke out around the base spread over an area of 17,000 square meters. Officials have said that the fire was being brought under control and emphasized that the attack would severely reduce Russia's ability to carry out terrorist attacks on Ukrainian cities. Ukrainian officials have said operations against the military targets of the invaders continue uninterruptedly, adding that such strategic moves will continue. This latest attack is part of Ukraine's escalating operations against Russian air bases. In response to Moscow's drone and missile attacks on Ukrainian cities, the Ukrainian military has begun launching more drone and missile strikes on air-based and military facilities. This operation on the Yeisk base is expected to severely limit Russia's ability to target civilian-populated areas in Ukraine. On the other hand, Russian sources have also stated that Ukraine's attacks are not limited to the Yeisk base. The Kanskaya military airfield in the Republic of Adygea was also targeted by Ukrainian unmanned aerial vehicles. This airfield reportedly caught fire after the attack. This is while NASA's fire monitoring program has also confirmed that it recorded a fire in the area where the 222nd Training Aviation Regiment is located. While no official statement has yet been made on the extent of the attack and the possible damages inflicted, the silence of local authorities is striking. These attacks show that Ukraine is not only taking a defensive posture, but is also pursuing an offensive strategy that directly targets strategic Russian military infrastructure. Such operations against Russian air bases cause serious disruption in Moscow's logistic chain and create difficulties in maintaining its military capabilities. With such strike, the Ukrainian military aims to not only hit military targets, but also to increase psychological pressure on Russia's invasion plans. Recently, unmanned aerial vehicles in particular have played an important role in military operations, which has increased the strategic importance of the facilities where the vehicles are stored. Unmanned aerial vehicles play a critical role both in intelligence gathering and in carrying out fast and effective strikes in areas close to the front lines. For this reason, the destruction of facilities such as the Yeisk base are considered as moves that directly undermine Russia's effectiveness on the battlefield. Despite the doubts in some circles regarding Ukraine's combat capability, popular support for the army remains a decisive factor for the continuity of military operations. The Ukrainian people's spirit of resistance strengthens the soldiers on the front lines and provides moral support to the strategic moves of the state. The attacks on critical infrastructures and military installations show that Ukraine is pursuing an active offensive strategy against Russia, not just remaining on the defensive, and that this strategy is beginning to bear fruit in the long run. The attack on the Yeisk base and the fire at the Kanskaya airfield could seriously weaken Russia's ability to sustain drone operations. While the Russian military has suffered setbacks in its frontline advance plans, as a result of these attacks, Ukraine is expected to continue such strategic operations. Russia's inability to protect its resources and the increasing number of attacks on its military installations could turn the tide of the war against Moscow. These attacks also call into question Russia's preparedness to prevent Ukraine's airstrikes. In the coming days, Russia's response to these attacks and the extent of which Ukraine will continue its operations will be among the most important factors determining the course of the war. Ukraine's operations against military installations in Russia stand out as critical moves that affect the course of the war. The attack on the Yeisk base shows Ukraine's efforts to gain strategic superiority while weakening Moscow's offensive capability. But do you think these efforts will yield results? Will the Ukrainian army gain strategic superiority? Will the destruction of the Russian military's drone centers play a significant role in the future of the war? Let me know in the comments. I read and care about your opinions.